cartridges from the range. All the primers are shot, fouling and the gunpowder exploding. Got to clean them out before we lube them up and size them. So we're just going to tumble them. Make sure the lid is on tight. Plug it in for about a couple hours. It was just tumbled. It was fired at the range. Cleaned it off. But now we have to size them. So these are already set up. But when you first get them, you have to set it up so this shell holder comes in contact, or just about touches the top of the die on the bottom of the stroke, and that the primer will get punched out. First, lubricate a few. So it punches the primer out and sizes the casing. But now that there's oil on it, I have to put it through the tumbler again to clean the oil off. So these are 300 Winchester Magnum shells, and this is a 300 Winchester Magnum die. It's a full-length die, which means it sizes the full length of the casing, not just the neck. Before you start reloading, you need to get a reloading book for the type of bullet you're going to be using, and it will give you all the data and specifications. So right now, we're just making sure a case length is the correct length. So it's for 300 Winchester Magnum, it's 2.61 to 2.62. So we have a pair of digital calipers there that are telling us that that's the correct size, and if it's within that range, then we'll load them up, and if they're too long, then we'll have to trim them. Labeling is an important part of reloading. If you don't label, you'll forget what you did, and it could cause injury and damage down the road. This is brass that's the right size. It's been sized, we've measured it, it's the right length. So I wrote it sized and trimmed, 300 Win Mag brass. And the stuff that needs to be trimmed is in this bag. It says too long, so that's very clear. I know what to do with it. We're trimming our cartridges. We get the data from the book, and it says 2.61. So here's the casing at 2.61. We get our trimmer. We put this takes a number 4 shell holder, so we put the number 4 shell holder in there. Set the shell in. It's a 30 caliber rifle, so we use a 30 caliber pilot to go on there. And it's set up right now to 2.61, and it's locked with the hex nuts, so it won't go any further. So now we can trim these. And then use a deburring tool. .612, pretty darn close. That one's good to go. We'll start making some bullets now with the 200 grain TSX. It's labeled there. The powder we'll be using is IMR 7828 Super Shortcut, a 215 Magnum primer. Yep, and 67 grains of powder. So it's all labeled, ready to go. We're gonna prime these shells, and as we load them, put them in this case so we know exactly what we have. Then before we prime them, we want to inspect the back just to make sure it's clean and there's no walnut media in there. I use an Allen key bit, do a circle and poke it through. And then we're ready to prime. In the book it tells you what type of primers to use. In this case we're using 215 large Magnum primers.
It's funny, but I'm better left-handed than right.
So the important thing about seating primers is to make sure that it's flush on the end.
And not to...
You don't want any primer protrusion because it could discharge as you close your bolt.
And not to hold this while you handle it.
Let's see one of those up close.
I like it.
So in loading powder, you set the powder scale, fill the powder measure up, do a cycle, measure your weight, make sure you're the right grain. Oh, just a little heavy there. And then there's a powder trickler to add more grain if necessary. Verifying his weight, he's right at the right weight, and then he puts it down the powder funnel into the casing and the loading block. Now he gets a Barnes bullet, puts a little lubrication in there so that the tool doesn't make any scratches or anything. Places it in the shell holder. And it's all measured to make sure the bullet is at the proper seating depth. Make sure the overall length is correct.
330.
Yeah, 3.34 is the tolerance for this cartridge, and looks like that's well within the parameters, so that's a good round. There we go. And make sure not to hold the casing as it goes up, because you could hold it on an angle and seat the bullet wrong.
.331.
Perfect. So it goes in the casing in the labeled box. There's 20 rounds.